Every church creative is feeling the pressure to produce better video content, better live streams, and more and better social media. And it can seem overwhelming, but if you're looking for new ideas, if you're looking for new solutions, if you're looking for the camaraderie, networking, and mentorship to help you on your personal journey, you need to attend the Capture Summit this year. I'm Marcel Patillo, the creative videographer over at Church of the City in Tennessee. Join me and hundreds of other techs and creatives at Capture Summit at Woodlands Church in Houston, Texas, September 17th through 18th. You will not want to miss this.
From front of house to center stage, for over 25 years, Earthworks microphones have sculpted the sounds of your favorite concerts, venues, and performances. Earthworks Audio is a sponsor of the Tech Arts Podcast. We are so happy to have them on board and excited to promote the new Earthworks SR117 vocal mic and capsules. To find out more about Earthworks Audio or to get your hands on this mic, go to earthworksaudio.com. That's earthworksaudio.com. Capturing emotion with sound. earthworksaudio.com. From sold-out stadiums to intimate live performance venues, sound engineers agree on one thing for the best digital mixing consoles for live sound. The only name that matters is Digico. As the recognized worldwide standard for live audio mixing, Digico consoles are renowned for their industry-leading sound quality and ease of use. Whether your application is in a church, broadcast, theater, corporate, sports, or installed sound, Digico offers compact and affordable products. From the S21 all the way up to the pioneering power of the Quantum 852, Digico delivers the workflow, the feature set, and the absolute reliability that the world's biggest tours and programs have come to rely upon. If you're looking for a sound console, look to Digico for your answer. For more information on Digico, go to digico.biz. That's digico.biz.
This is the Tech Arts Podcast, where we talk about tech, leadership, and all things that concern church audio, video, and lighting.
Welcome to the Tech Arts Podcast and the Earthworks Audio Studios. My name is DL. So glad to have you joining us today. Today's podcast is jam-packed with great information and content. Joining us for today's interview is the legend and Parnelli award-winning audio engineer, Buford Jones. In this conversation, you will get to hear from one of the greatest audio engineers of all time, a man who mixed for David Bowie, Faith Hill, Pink Floyd, and many more. He pioneered immersive sound mixing and brings a unique perspective to how you should approach an immersive mix. This is not the first time we've talked to Buford. Matter of fact, today is part 2 of our conversation. If you did not listen to or watch part 1, you need to go back and check out that episode. You can do that by going to techartspodcast.com. In part 1, we not only talked to Buford, but we also got into the details of the Capture Summit. James Harding, who is the president of Metro Media and Communications, shares all the details of this powerful summit. If you've not signed up for it today, you can do so by going to capturesummit.com. Our tech tip for that episode was the Soundwire. If you've not heard of this product, be sure to go back and listen to episode 46, which is part 1 of our convo with Buford. The Soundwire is an amazing invention that will change how you connect your computer to your sound console. To listen or watch any of that content, go to techartspodcast.com. Special thanks to all our sponsors, especially Digico, Earthworks Audio, Sonic, and worshipfacility.com. Without them, this podcast would not be possible. Okay, let's jump right into part 2 of our conversation with Buford. When we left off, Buford was talking about a controversial subject that helped him throughout his career. Let's listen in.
And I listened to those tapes. And another very controversial subject, which helped me tremendously throughout my career, you have to understand audio, I think, pretty well to be able to accomplish making um, the highest possible accuracy of a live recording and then your real show. And of course, your real show is what's the priority, getting to the audience. But I felt that there was some sort of commonality here that wasn't being exercised. And I wanted to use show tapes, and I was not embarrassed to do it. Or what somebody else said is, well, people over there can't hear what those people are hearing. That's bull in my book. I can explain that in depth. But yeah, my first time to ever listen to a show tape would have been about 1977, 78 with Linda Ronstadt. And I remember the night where we finished the show. It was my own calling. I told them, I says, I recorded tonight's show, of course, with their permission, for the reason of improving the show. Let's go sit on the bus and listen to this. Well, it's the only night the entire band did it. But if you can imagine the horseshoe in the back of the bus lounge, and I'm sitting in the middle, Linda Ronstadt sitting here, and her producer, Peter Asher, was sitting here, and the rest of the band was around that.
No pressure, no pressure.
No pressure at all. I was, wow. And then once I hit play, I'm even hearing myself, oh man, I should have had the guitar a little louder. I should have had this a little bit louder.
Critiquing yourself while you're playing it.
Yeah, she was very polite, but she said, where's the guitar? And I went, well, I don't hear it. I know why I don't hear it, because he was playing through amps that were directly pointed at me, and I think he's in the PA when he's really not. So this helps on the equation. Well, boy, I could jump off into that too. Let's just say that when we listened to that tape, the things that they brought up was just like a stamp. It was like I didn't have to write it down. I didn't have to try to remember it. It was fascinating me to go to the console the next day at soundcheck and try these things that they pointed out in the recording.
Yeah, it helped you tweak your mix a little bit when you got in there mixing live again.
Exactly. And you want to make sure that the hook is right and the instruments that make up that hook, or the lyrics, however it is that you call the hook, whatever you remember the song by, we get those elements out. And then, Peter Asher would sit with me at the console, but he'd let me turn everything, and very seldom would he say very much, and we'd just talk about the compression on her voice. We did not want to put compression on Linda's voice, even though she's very different mic technique than most gifted artists, and she's gifted, but she stays right on the mic. She doesn't move it. She holds the stand and stays right on it. In fact, she was nervous, and I didn't realize that or pick up on that. And I'm asking her one night after the show, back in the dressing room, I says, could you please stop holding the stand because you're rattling it? I'm hearing the tube and it's just rattling in there. She said, oh, please don't ask me to do that. Please don't ask me to do that. I need that to hold on to. And I said, okay, fine. I'll deal with it. Yeah. But this is where I established with that band a real close relationship with the band. And I just, in my mind, I don't see how it could be done any differently. I don't know, and the majority of it is where the sound company or the engineer travels with the crew, comes in with the crew, works all day long. Some of them get there very early in the morning. They work the entire day, and then they set out at 8:00 that night to mix a very important show. That show is important for several reasons. I mean, not only that we're entertaining people, but we're a business and we're selling records. If we impress our audience with the quality of sound, if they haven't already bought the album, now there's chances they're going to go buy the album. And because they had a great experience when they saw them live. Yeah, I got to get that record. Sometimes it works the other way around. But it's definitely, albums were when they're worked on by whatever artist, especially the LA group. But I think worldwide, it's typically a month, 2 months. Some take much longer. But after they've finished that record, they hit the road with it. So it's to promote it. And to me, I just saw the value in that in my early time without anybody explaining it to me, what we're out here doing. And if we do a good job, we're proud of that job. If we do a good job, they sell more records. This artist sustains their career better. And therefore, there'll be another tour 2 years from now. That used to be a rough average, about every 2 years or a little bit more. All these artists record a new record. So that kind of made the cycle and things fall in place. And for me, I didn't have a resume when I walked into Shoko, and I didn't have a resume until just a few years ago when I moved to Nashville. And I don't know, the phone just kept ringing. But I think that fact, that spread of word, and of course, Linda Ronstadt was very big in LA and that area. And a lot of other people, the Jackson Browns and James Taylor, I think, other than being in Martha's Vineyard, was in LA a lot. So they talk among themselves. And here I found myself meeting a lot more of these people. And just the phone started ringing. So I'd go out with them. I can't name one tour, and even Pink Floyd, I did not call them. They called me. I didn't know that a Pink Floyd tour was coming up and out.
Well, Buford, let me ask you this question. Yep. You've mentioned a lot of artists there. What was your favorite artist to work with, and why?
I'll get that question probably more than any. Again, just blessed with some of the greatest music on the planet. And it's...
Because you said you've worked with 32 artists, right?
I had a list I could have sent you, and I'm sorry.
It's all right. 32 artists. Which one was your favorite?
Well, Pink Floyd was definitely the biggest, and it was just a whole different ball game. I mean, it was to have that freedom to have the tools that you need. You just speak up and get the tools that you need. They expect the highest performance possible from their sound and from their crews. And so that one was quite a challenge, which I enjoyed that challenge, but I love the music. I love Pink Floyd's music, but I probably couldn't have named you the band when I was hired to go out with them. Now, David Gilmour did interview me in Beverly Hills as I was finishing up the record. And we just had a great little talk. It wasn't so much about what I've done and who I've done and what I can do. We were talking about Macintoshes, and Macintoshes were fairly new, around 72. And he was telling me, yeah, we used the Mac and sequencer on the latest album, and we were, doing this and that. And I was cool. Yeah, I do some of that stuff too, but not to the quality that you're doing it, but I play with that. So we just had that kind of chatter, just like what fascinates us in the business. And I think he picked up from that.
And you mixed for them, you mixed essentially immersive. You mixed surround sound for them, right?
Yes, it was an interesting setup. I jokingly call it the Floyd Point One.
The Floyd Point One
system, but not quite. You just didn't have a center channel. What it was, you had the main left and right PA, and that's channels 1 and 2. And then directly off to my left, 90 degrees, would be a PA cluster up in the stadium, one up there in the stadium, and then one behind me. So there you got 5 points. It's a triangle. I can explain it more on it's a square, really, in a way. And by positioning pan pots, the primary, of course, was the main mix, and I do that in stereo. And then I'd use the quad or surround as effects. I learned that on David Bowie when I tried it on him and Young Americans. And Shoko had just built a console that was parametric EQ, my first time to get on parametric EQ. And on that console, the 4 outputs that it had, and I found that trying to put instruments in the rear channels just does not work. It just does not work. It's the illusion that you're hearing the guitar from behind you and you're seeing it in front of you, and your brain's not going to accept it and kind of feel that something's going on here that's not quite right. So I learned to use it sporadically. The speakers are not on all the time, like in a typical surround sound situation, especially if you listen to surround sound on broadcast, television broadcast. There's something in the channels at all times, but you don't necessarily have that visual element. So when the visual element is up there and I got the band, keep it in stereo, but every once in a while a solo, for instance, on David's guitar, I could take that solo, build it up in the PA, and then turn on a echo that echoes through the rear of the stadium. You just actually kind of hear it move over your head. And
well, Buford, I think that's really good advice, even for today's youngsters that are mixing on surround and immersive. I go, it's so easy to do nowadays as opposed to back then. It was a little bit more difficult. And Meyer Sound has, their surround system, DMB, L Acoustics. They all have a surround system now, an immersive system, as they're calling it. And I've gone and attended some of these immersive environments, and they're trying to put instruments and do different things around me, and it's just doesn't sound right. And I think what you're speaking to is something that even to this day, the immersive thing, it is not the same as broadcast. It's effects, it's some of the peripheral things. Unless you're doing something specific, like you're trying to move a train, or the artist is out in the audience a little bit to the right and you want to make them a point source over there. But speak to that a little bit more, because I think that applies to today's mixing when it comes to immersive and what you should put behind the person or around the person as opposed to what you should put in front of them.
Well, I think you're making that surround dynamic and not static. Again, we don't put instruments in the rear channel and leave them there. If something, as I said, effects, echoes, reverbs would lend itself. I had a Lexicon 224 XL that all four of its outputs was assigned to the quad station. So again, on a guitar solo, you turn this on, and wow, it just opens it up. It makes you pay attention, but it doesn't bring you out of the time zone and the time alignment. And it just sounds like the guitar is coming from everywhere. And then it's gone. That's what's nice about it. And I think the first time that I saw Pink Floyd was the Wall in LA. And I sat kind of toward the rear and off to one side on the floor of the arena. And I noticed that too. I'm pulled away from time to time, but only momentarily. It's not that I'm just hearing an instrument just continue blasting over here that's out of time with everybody else. And but I thought they did that real tastefully. But as I said, I had actually experimented with that long before I saw Pink Floyd with David Bowie. And that was the same thing. I tried stereo to the back, same thing, left, right. Then I tried a cross stereo. I said, well, what will that do? Bowie was very open. He just said, let's do it in quad. You go do whatever you want to do. Let's just do it in quad. Okay, great. And so for the first 3 or 4 days, that's what I was trying, was the configurations. And I liked a lot of things I was doing. Then I realized some of this is just simply not going to work. And then it came to me, this is an effect. I need to use this as an effect when it's effective. So you got to kind of dissect the music. But I think to the listener in an immersive situation, that's what's wonderful about it, is when it's momentary. And wow, that was cool. And then another effect that we used at that time, we didn't have quad panners or 4-channel panners. We'd have joysticks, but I'm talking about to be able to, what we did, auto panners. So David had told me about this, that they tried it, and I said, yeah, well, let's do that too. So we got the old SPX 90. If you remember the Yamaha SPX 90, got 2 of them. And one of their programs is an auto panner. Okay, it just sits there and auto pans. That's all it does. And then, so I got 2 of them, and I took the output of one and made it pan left to right in the stadium or arena. The other one, I hardwired front to rear. The front is actually a virtual front. It's mono in the front, and it would pan this way. Now you wire their inputs together and bring them off one send, and I could take the girls' voices is where I really love doing that. I could take the girls' voices, get them well in the stereo, but at the same time, I turn on that send, and the effect to me is just
It's like
this.
they were flying around you.
Yeah, like they were moving. And, you know, what was interesting whenever we'd go, say, from a stadium to an arena, we would just change the frequency of that pan. You know, if it was a much wider place than the day before, Steve had worked it out, my engineer, to give me the same length where I sat, regardless of how far the systems work, because that varied a little bit each day. So we just vary the frequency. So to me, it would always sound pretty much the same. And it's just awesome. I don't know what else to say. You're only going to get this effect in the center of the room, off on the sides. I'm not sure. But I only think, they never said it to me, but I think that Pink Floyd realized that the surround or immersive experience at that time was well worth the prime real estate on the lower level. And I agree with that. They were in line first. They paid the most money to see the show. Everybody deserves the best show you can give them. But, you know, you just don't let these people suffer here when you're trying to cover something way up here. You know, hey, I don't know. This is, once again, they took the time to, well, we're trying to get that prime real estate.
The VIP seats had a great experience. It's not that the others didn't have a good experience, but it sounds like especially for the time and the year that you guys were doing it, it was definitely an innovative thing. Which, speaking of which, at the beginning of the podcast, you mentioned the Parnelli Audio Innovator Award that you won. Congrats on that, by the way. But tell me a little bit on what that award means to you.
Wow. It means that I finally did something right in my life, I guess. I got one.
You got a trophy to say I did something right.
I did it. I won, kind of, so to speak.
Well, I know Helen Meyer presented that award to you, and just talk a little bit about that. When I watched the video, you got very emotional, and you know, you've meant a lot to a lot of people. But having her up on the platform with you, just talk a little bit about that, unpack that experience for us.
Well, they had told me, the staff at Parnelli, that I could choose who I wanted to actually hand me the award. And this Helen Meyer came to first like that. I mean, I guess I could call Jackson Brown, see if he was off and he'd have done it, or Clint Black or somebody like that I still know how to get in touch with. But it's just Helen came right. I respect her so much. And I worked with her for 15 years, and they were just 15 incredibly amazing years. That's where I learned so much about sound other than what I learned on the road. It really well-rounded me, I think. And, you know, we just got to the point in those 15 years where I felt I was really ready to roll now. I've got the understanding of all of this. It seemed like I was well respected by others, and you know, so I asked her to do that, and she seemed very honored, very pleased, and happy to do it. And then, so that's what she did, and that's what that got emotional, because I stood up. I had no problem speaking in front of people. It took me a while to get over that, but in fact, when I started Meyer Sound, I had not done any public speaking and terrified to do so. And then I got into the education department, and then Gavin Kanan at Meyer Sound would book us around the world on that staff, which was about 6 or 7 guys. And so mine was the mixing class, and it was fun that I'm getting back to Helen in the show, but it was fun that I could tell them what to do with their newly tuned PA. Now, what are you going to do with it now when the lights are down? So that was my portion of the education thing. But Helen and the way that she run the company, where all the people respected her, just made you proud to work there and want to do a good job. And I'll give her that credit. I didn't get to spend the time that I wanted to with John, but we did several occasions to get together. And I think he and I, if we'd have met in the early 70s, we'd have rocked. We'd have just simply rocked. I believe in his philosophy, equal amplitude response. That gets into making show tapes. But anyway, let's get back. And John, and he wasn't able to make it because he had an earache that he thought that the pressure on the airplane would really be of harm, and so he wasn't able to make it. But however, she just did such a wonderful job, and I was standing on the edge ready to go, and then I just kept listening to her, and like, whoa, and it's just, and I'm looking around at 700 people, and that are all, high-end official people. It cost enough to get in there that I think most of us road dogs couldn't afford it, but no, it was industry, manufacturers, and all that. And it was just nice to see them standing up when I walked up there, and that took me away too. I could tell that the whole room was standing, and same on the finish, and it just got to me. So I was, if you look on the video, and I'm looking at my jacket for a Kleenex, I
trying to get all the tears out.
Yeah. And I couldn't see the stairs. I thought I was going to trip because my eyes were just running water. And then I get up there, and I had a couple of words with her, and then I couldn't see my phone, and I just wrote down some bullet points is all I did, and I couldn't see that, so I just set it down and went with it. Maybe the order that I thanked people I would have changed a little bit, but I'm not disappointed with it. I got so many compliments. They just said you did it from the heart. You did it from the heart, and
that's who you are, Buford. I mean, when I watched it, I thought, man, that just came from the heart, and it was cool to see Helen up there giving you the award, and it's very, very well deserved. You are an audio innovator, and so I was proud for you to see you getting that award. But I know you have another honor. So this podcast is sponsored by Earthworks Audio. You can go to the website, earthworksaudio.com. And you're talking on the Earthworks mic right now, but I think they sent you a special one, didn't they?
Yes. I'm so thrilled with that. It's got my picture on it. What they did was I sent some actual photographs of just some shots over the years. David Bowie was in there at the LA Amphitheater, then Pink Floyd over Venice, several different things. And then I was saying about a cab driver who picked me up in New York roughly in 77. And I think that's what Mike Diaz really liked about it. As the cab driver picked me up and asked me what I was doing in New York City. And I said, I mix live concerts. And he said, who do you mix? I said, Linda Ronstadt. And he goes, oh, Mama bakes the cake and you serve it. Well put. This guy is hip. And that'll be the name of my book. They bake the cake and I serve it. And I think that's the way it should be looked at. I don't think an engineer can take credit for what it sounds like. He's delivering it. It's created on the stage. It just has to pass through our hands to get to its final destination. And we just don't want to destroy it or diminish it coming down to us. So I took that pleasure in realizing I have nothing but fine musicians here to work with. And I can let them do their work. I mean, and then at the same time, I learn their work. And then if I can embellish it, I embellish it. But anyway, that was quite an award. And it just makes me feel real good after all these years.
Which microphone did they send you?
It's the Ethos. It's laser etched. And so they got me standing there with a cake. They bake the cake and I serve it.
From the taxi driver.
And they have David Bowie on it. They have Pink Floyd on it. They have, I don't have my glasses, so I can't focus on it. 3 or 4 of the artists that I work for. and they're on there too. But you see me with long hair is actually on a David Bowie tour, and they superimposed a birthday cake, and it's really, really cool. And I was amazed when I got this, and they thought of that. Plus, it's just a very quality microphone. Yours is sounding outstanding to me right now, and I hope this one is too if I stay on it. But I would have had to mount it a little differently. But I'm very pleased with that, and I have a couple of different models of theirs. I've always admired Earthworks and their commitment to quality audio, and I trust these completely, and I'm finding they're fun to record with, feeling that I'm getting the natural sound of the instrument.
We're going to stop right there on this episode, but you don't want to miss the next one. We talked to Buford about mic technique, including how he mic'd up Eric Clapton for MTV's Unplugged episode. Buford actually grabs a guitar and shows us this technique. It will change how you think about miking instruments. Well, that wraps things up for today's episode. I can't wait to talk to you on the next Tech Arts podcast. Until then, I'm David Leuschner, signing off by wishing you a great day and praying God blesses every moment of your week. See you soon.
You have been listening to the Tech Arts Podcast, presented by Digital Great Commission Ministries. DGCM is a 501c3 nonprofit that was started to help churches with all things technical. Whether you need help building a team, finding the right gear, or just a better understanding of the church tech world, DGCM is here for you. Find out more about our free on-site visits, reports, and consulting by going to audiovideolighting.com. Digital Great Commission Ministries will help you run your church service like a pro. Find out more at audiovideolighting.com.
Every church creative is feeling the pressure to produce better video content, better live streams, and more and better social media. And it can seem overwhelming, but if you're looking for new ideas, if you're looking for new solutions, if you're looking for the camaraderie, networking, and mentorship to help you on your personal journey, you need to attend the Capture Summit this year. I'm Marcel Patillo, the creative videographer over at Church of the City in Tennessee. Join me and hundreds of other techs and creatives at Capture Summit at Woodlands Church in Houston, Texas, September 17th through 18th. You will not want to miss this.
From sold-out stadiums to intimate live performance venues, sound engineers agree on one thing for the best digital mixing consoles for live sound. The only name that matters is Digico. As the recognized worldwide standard for live audio mixing, Digico consoles are renowned for their industry-leading sound quality and ease of use. Whether your application is in a church, broadcast, theater, corporate, sports, or installed sound, Digico offers compact and affordable products. From the S21 all the way up to the pioneering power of the Quantum 852, Digico delivers the workflow, the feature set, and the absolute reliability that the world's biggest tours and programs have come to rely upon. If you're looking for a sound console, look to Digico for your answer. For more information on Digico, go to digico.biz. That's digico.biz. From front of house to center stage, for over 25 years, Earthworks microphones have sculpted the sounds of your favorite concerts, venues, and performances. Earthworks Audio is a sponsor of the Tech Arts Podcast. We are so happy to have them on board and excited to promote the new Earthworks SR117 vocal mic and capsules. To find out more about Earthworks Audio or to get your hands on this mic, go to earthworksaudio.com. That's earthworksaudio.com. Capturing emotion with sound. earthworksaudio.com. With Sermon Shot's church-specific AI, sermon highlights don't go unnoticed. Easily transform your sermons into 10-plus bite-sized clips, ready for social media. It doesn't stop there. Refine each clip by adding or removing video sections, give them your unique touch with colors, fonts, design edits, and create the goosebump moment with background music. Elevate your message and reach hearts locally and globally. Start today by going to sermonshots.com. Luminex Network Intelligence manufactures data distribution equipment for professional lighting, audio, and video applications. Luminex offers a complete range of network switches, converters, nodes, and DMX splitters, providing AV designers and technicians with cutting-edge technology to build complete data distribution systems for churches, big events, or large venues. Through products like the Luminode, Luminex keeps it simple and allows the user to easily control what they need to do or how they need to do it. Whatever your configuration is today, or whatever your configuration is in the future, Luminex is designed for today, but built for tomorrow. Luminex Network Intelligence, AV networking made easy. For more information, go to aclighting.com. That's aclighting.com.